Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I've got one of my favorite, if not the best, American photographer. And I'm sorry if I called you American. I know it's pretty hard times at the moment being classified as American. But Katie, it's amazing to finally get this chatting. I know you've been busy with the MLS back competition. How is it? What are you doing? And please, I'm so sorry if it's midnight there.
Nah, it's only 9 o'clock. We're all right. But yeah, it's good to finally chat with you. I know we've been following each other for a bit, so it's nice to see your face and chatting. So yeah, I'm here in the bubble in Orlando. We have our third game of the group stage tomorrow. So far so good, I would say. A lot better than I maybe would have anticipated coming here, but I'm so used to the travel and preseason trips and whatnot. So being in a hotel for so long, team meals and the schedule and all that doesn't really faze me too much. So I could do without the rain every single day, but it's good.
Yeah, we're used to the rain here in Melbourne, but I remember watching your stories when you were packing. Did you manage to pack everything you wanted?
You know, I left my favorite hoodie at home, and I regret it. I definitely should have brought some more socks. But yeah, there's a hoodie at home I'll be waiting for, and a comfy pair.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the players can give you some of the game day socks.
I know. I should. I got to bother our kit man, but that's all right. We're making do.
It feels like every city team has a kit man that we all love, so I will talk about that later. But when it comes to you being in the bubble right now, how is it? Is it comfortable for you? Because I'll definitely be watching the game tomorrow, and please, let's make a plan right now. When you're at the game, I'm going to try and spot you. So try and have like a little flag or something next to you so I can spot you and I can add to this episode, okay?
Hey, I'll probably have my hat if it gets too hot. It might be me.
Done.
But yeah, what was the question about the bubble? If it's been comfortable?
How is it? Yeah, how is everything there?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, everyone has their own room due to safety precautions. We have the whole property to ourselves with the other MLS teams, and we are pretty separate from them. There's a few people that I know from other teams, which is nice to see some new faces every now and then, but it's been nice. I mean, I try to go for walks every day just to get out, but I've been pretty busy just with work and, shooting and all that, so there hasn't been, I haven't been just trapped in my hotel room with nothing to do, so that's been good.
So you're basically documenting everything. Are you allowed in every place, or of course there's going to be restrictions for other teams, but how has it been for you with the camera running around? Has it been fun? Because I'm honestly envious of your opportunity right now.
Yeah, I know it's great. The way that like our culture is and the way that, we work as a team, it's nice that like we're embraced. Our digital team is embraced. We're not really shunned from anywhere. Certain things I won't shoot in, team meals or that sort of thing. But when I came on, I knew how important it was to just to get to know the people here and get to know the staff and the players and take that time to build that trust. So with that trust kind of comes the access that we have. So it's good. I obviously keep my distance in training. I don't, get too far on the lines to the point where I'm in the way. But it's good. And even games, like I think we have a little bit more access than I maybe would have thought we were going to have out here. So yeah, it's been nice. So far so good. I mean, I do my editing in the back of trailers on the grass and stuff. So it's definitely not super glamorous out here, but we're making do with the circumstances for sure.
I totally agree with you when it comes to the trust of the players and yourself as the media department or behind the camera. It's that one thing I do agree as well, where you work as a club, like it may give you access, but if you and that athlete or player, depending on who it is, don't gel, even a coach, you just don't get that access. You can be sneaky, but it's basically crossing the line of respect. And it's a good point that you bring up, because I do see a lot of photographers out there crossing that boundary that you respect, and then you almost feel a bit disheartened by that person that's done that thing. But with yourself, I agree, because, sometimes you get invited by the athlete, when you're on away days or even home games, but sometimes even if you feel comfortable with that person, you don't want to cross that line. So that's a good point that you brought up for other, future photographers, anyone watching who's interested in photography. But talking about taking photos, what current gear are you working with at the moment? Are you a Canon, Sony?
I'm Canon right now. I had an old Nikon like back in the day, like a point and shoot kind of thing, and not to shun it, but I was 15 or 16 and it gave me some battery issues. So when I came to getting a DS, like, oh, I'm just gonna get Canon.
I like how you say Nikon. We say Nikon, you say Nikon. It's so.
Is that? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know what's right. I don't know. I honestly don't know what's right.
I don't know. I'm gonna get all the gearheads coming at us, but Canon, and I don't know enough about Sony to say anything, but I'm kind of too deep in the Canon ball game to be switching over. But
same. Don't worry.
Yeah, it does the job, and I'm pretty simple. I'm not really much of a gearhead because I don't particularly that it matters. You know, I shot with, you know, a kit lens and, you know, that sort of thing for the longest time. So you make do with what you have.
For the I agree with that.
First 2 seasons here, I only had like a 24-70 and a 70-200. So I mean, I was shooting games and trainings with the 70-200. So I've only had a 300 millimeter for a little while here. So, and I don't want to brag about myself, but like if you look at the photos, like you can get good photos with, you know, not the best gear. So I don't like to focus too much on, you know, all the new lenses, new, you know, whatever versions of cameras. So
no, your work speaks for itself. And trust me, when it comes to looking at your gallery, it just stands out. You put a lot of dedication into your editing as well. And that's one thing I do like when I look at your work, but also when I talk to future photographers, it's like, yeah, you can just chuck a filter in a photo, makes no difference. But if you know how to shoot, but then treat it to the way you see prior to shooting, then yeah, you do that well. Talking about starting with gear, when I started with Melbourne City, I had absolutely nothing. And to see where I've become after 5 years and, you know, using that pay that you do over time to build your gear, it shows you how things can be when you start off, and the hard work does pay off towards the end. You know, like you said, the 300mm, I love that lens. I look forward to actually moving from the 200, 400. It's a massive difference. Have you ever used the zoom lens at that speed that length and then moved down to 300? Have you seen the difference?
I haven't. I used the 400 for like a half one time that, I don't know if you know Matthew Stiff. And yeah, I mean, that's why I always go back to the 70-200, like just the flexibility of it is so nice. I mean, what you were just saying before too about, you know, you get a new lens and you see the difference and the growth from your first year. Like I look back on photos from my first preseason and, you know, I'm like, what in the hell was I doing? Like, you know, my editing alone, I think has come such a long way since like those first few games. Yeah. So, and for me, like less is kind of more sometimes on that front. Like I don't like too crazy with, you know, the colors or contrast or saturation and whatnot. Like I kind of just like to keep it simple, and sometimes that's the way for me.
Look, I was guilty when I first started off. I was that typical over-influenced photographer that was just trying their best to fit in anywhere. But I think when I started my career with Melbourne City, it was around 2015. So I think, yeah, gear-wise, it was so hard to, you know, just come out of nowhere and buy the best lenses. So I used to feel judged by a lot of the current Getty or any press photographers that we had. And I think as I got to the point where I am, I feel a bit more confident in myself being in the public eye and showing what I do, because I'm a typical photographer that likes to take risks. Like I said to you the other day when you posted that tweet, sit on the floor, get dirty and just get muddy. And I like doing that in training. And people always say, you know, how do you get the grass? And I'm like, you got to get dirty. You got to go low and try something different, because sometimes, you know, shooting a game can become so tedious in the sense that it's repetitive. And like you try your best every home game or even away or anything, just to make something different, you know, because gear is gear, but it's always what you envision or even have that sort of thought before the game starts. Looking at your experience shooting at home, how close do you get to the players compared to, you know, like for example, in Australia, we have a really strict thing where we sit behind a massive sort of fence. What about you guys? How's the experience in the US?
So it's a little bit different, like everywhere you go. Some stadiums, like, you know, like the advertising boards and stuff, like you just behind that. but depending on the stadium, you could be super close to the line and you could be like miles and miles away. So it's different everywhere you go. For us specifically at Yankee Stadium, I think it's closer than most, just where we're allowed to stand being with the team. We can be kind of a little bit closer to the corner, and just the way things are there, we're slightly closer than most.
I'm so jealous that you said Yankee Stadium. Like, you live in New York. Like, you know how amazing that is? The fact but that you can say, I know, but like you can walk the streets and go to Yankee Stadium. Like, you're in this amazing hub, like culture-wise. It's amazing. Like, yeah. I can't comprehend.
Like before I got here, when I was in college, I was doing like game days or like production work for Yes Network. So I was working baseball games, and like, can I say, like, I hate baseball.
Don't worry, I've only been to one baseball game. That was in Japan, and I enjoyed it because the Japanese culture. But I can't imagine what the American.
Go have a beer and chill or whatever. It's fine, but I could not watch it on TV and just sit there for 4 hours. So like I definitely, and my family's all Mets fans, New York Mets fans. So like I would go to Yankee Stadium and be in the dugout, and all my friends are freaking out. But like I was not fazed by it. So yeah. I definitely
that's a good call.
And we had some Sky Blue players come to one of our games last year, and a few of them we're all big Yankee fans. So it's funny when you see people come and they're like, "Oh my God, Yankee Stadium's so awesome," and I'm there how many times a year, and it just doesn't faze me. But
so working with the City Group, how has the experience been?
Yeah, and I think just working within city football and New York City especially, like, I think the culture is really great, and I don't know if that many teams are as lucky to have, the resources that we have, or just like that kind of family atmosphere and that encouragement and all that. And I have really amazing bosses and a team surrounding us that encourage me to be myself, or encourage me to be open with the fans and the players and all of that. So I think they really embraced what, everyone can bring to the table. And it's just, it's awesome. Like, I think it's great to just be open to teams, like to have those connections to a team like Man City or Melbourne, or, we had the photographer from Torquay come over to us. So it's things like that. Cool. And not that they support and they encourage, like that kind of finding group situation.
Look, this chat right now wouldn't exist if we didn't have that City connection. Like I said to you earlier in the chat when we're organizing, like, I am a United supporter and it sucks, but I love working for City, and it's so hard to admit to people. Deep down, I still bleed red. And when it comes to working for City, like, it's just been an amazing experience, because not many people can say that this club has given them an opportunity. 2015, I was doing a little photo shoot in Sydney, and then I got a call from Melbourne City saying, "Hey, come work for us." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, is this real?" Like, someone saw my work on Instagram and said, "We want you to work for us." And like yourself, like, you've been creating history for the players, but also for the club. Like, in 20, 30 years time, when people look at this generation, like you now, MLS is back, like, you're creating imagery, but also history for the club. The athletes are doing their part, whether it's the males, the female teams, or the youth teams. Like, you're there documenting. And one thing I did the other day for City was I went and shot their academy under 15s. And, the coaches were telling me, like, this kid's going to be the next big thing. And it gives me like goosebumps knowing that my photo of this 15-year-old, even younger sometimes, may be a part of this kid's history, that when they make the A-League debut, that's our league here, those images are a part of that. Also, like the W League, now that the girls like Kaya Simon, Ali Carpenter, Steph Catley, they've all gone overseas to England and Europe respectively. Like, the fact that I was able to document their time here, like, I know when they retire, there's images there that they're going to hold close to them. Is that something that gives you sort of the happiness as well?
Yeah, I think that's the best part about all of it, right? And I've said that for, since I got here. Like, every single day is history, like the guys going out on the golf course the other day, like, that's a part of history. Amazing in NYC photos. And like you were saying about the youth player, I started shooting our academy like shortly after I got hired, and I would ask that same thing, like, who's the next kid? Like, not even curiosity, like, you know, who's really balling out there. And you know, that we had a few homegrown kids come up, and I came in at the tail end. And I've always said that I want to be like, I'm so excited for that next kid who, like, I was there from the beginning and I was able to capture, like, maybe not his first game, but, like, you know, his first year in the academy all the way up until something like that is just, like, so cool to me. And
exactly.
And for them, like, they're just kids playing soccer. And I think it's awesome, like, that what we do is literally going to live on forever. And to come back to the Man City thing, it's like you see them sharing photos from, you know, 10, 20, 30 years ago, whatever, and we're still so young. Like, this is, I don't know, year 6 or whatever. I don't know. Can't even. Like, we're still so young, and I'm still so young. So it's like, even if I'm here for however many more years, if I never leave this club, like, that's so much history that I'm able to be. I definitely don't take that for granted at all.
I know the fact that you said how many years at the club, like, it scares me. The fact that, you know, like, nothing lasts forever, and I'm always fearful of the day that City says to me, we don't need you anymore. Like, it actually breaks my heart knowing that, because compared to the MLS, like, you have like 30 plus, 40 plus professional football teams. And then you got the lower leagues that still pay, or, you know, the best thing I love about MLS, but also the American culture, is that they love marketing. They love putting money into media, because it's such an advertising sort of civilization there. While compared to Australia, like Melbourne, there's only 3 teams, professional teams. Only one of them, City, has someone like myself. Like Western United, they have someone, but I don't think they use them every time. And Victory has a videographer that does both. And so for me, like, I'm surrounded by amazing community in the staff, that there's a videographer, there's a media team, and, like, it's a family, and I love that. So it's good to see that it's all across. And like you said before, working with Man City, I got to meet Matt and Victoria in Japan this time, literally tomorrow last year. So literally 366 days ago in Japan. I was able to greet and shake the hands of these amazing people that create content, but also history for the athletes at Man City. And look, I think you and I connected as well, that the whole City family is really well, and, like, both yourself, Matt, and myself always keep in contact. And it's good to see that. I do look forward in the future, maybe we can do some sort of gallery night in all 3 sort of countries, but states of the country, and that we can share our images to the City family. So that's something we can always pitch to City in the future. Now, what's your most awkward moment being a photographer for City? Have you ever tripped over in front of the players?
You know, there's probably plenty that I just don't think about. But one time I got hit in the face with a ball. That sucked. There's definitely ones I just can't think about. During a game, I got hit right in the ribs. So I was, like, posting a Snapchat or something, just completely not paying attention, and I got rocked.
Live TV?
No. It was, like, during warm-ups or whatever. So, I mean, it's my own. I put myself in the situations all the time. Like, I get too close to the post or whatever, and I get hit with balls. But I feel like
there's a lot. Like, my favorite thing is, like, at trainings, when the players want to say hello, they don't shake hands. This is pre-COVID. We can't shake hands now. They all do like the full, like, what is it, like it has to be a high five clap hand, like the super, like, and I'm like, I always miss their hand. And sometimes I don't know if you watch comic books, or anyone that's watching this that watches comic, like, it's almost like the Flash. My hand goes into their chest, and I'm like, oh shit, this is never gonna be. And, like, I cop shit every time now. They're like, you're gonna miss that hand?
Oh my god! So when I first started, I went on my first, like, preseason trip to Jacksonville or whatever, and it was when Patrick Vieira was still a coach, and all that. Wow. And the team meals worked is, like, the guys would come in and they would go around the table and they would shake everyone's hand. And someone told me, they're like, hey, like, they're gonna shake everyone's hand. And, like, as a woman, I was like, and they didn't really know me. I was like, do I dap them up? Do I shake their, like, fist bump it? Like, well, there were so many just awkward, like, they would go in for a shake, I would go in for a fist bump, and it was just I can relate to that. And
No,
it's so
it's good.
stressful.
It's so stressful, and like we said before, like the connection with the players is so unique for us to be able to say hello. You know, like with the goalkeepers, like if I start stalking them, I always notice them, and I'm gonna cop shit if they watch this. But like I always see put their more effort into the work rate at trainings when they see the camera. Is that something you experience as well?
All the time. Oh my god, I joke with
probably just goalkeepers.
Our goalkeeper coach Rob all the time, because I'll come over and our guy Luis here, like he'll dive, and they all rip him. They're like, you didn't have to dive for that. Like, but they egg it up for the camera, and I tell Rob all the time, I was like, I come over here and I make them work harder, so you can thank me for that.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree on that. And it's like every time that players do shooting practice or something, I hide behind the net to try and get a nice banging shot for them. And like they'll try their best to like do these like professional like Beckham or something like. And I'm just sitting there like, you guys know I'm here. Like they know you're there. What's your favorite moment ever? Like I know looking at your images before, like you have this amazing, unique way of shooting celebrations. And I really want to say that I love what you've done with recent galleries. Even last season, I was looking and keeping up to date with your work. What's your favorite moment? Like, if you have to single one moment, what's your favorite moment being behind the camera for City?
My favorite moment, man.
Something that gives you goosebumps. Come on, there's surely one.
That was just cool. It was like at our last playoff game, they had like a slideshow on the big Jumbotron thing of like photos from the season. And that was pretty cool, just to like pick your head up and see like all of your photos just like playing through on a Jumbotron, like in the middle of the stadium.
It's an amazing feeling.
I mean, I feel like all the goal celebrations are like pretty awesome to me. Like I get excited all the time, and like me and Nate would like which way they're gonna go or that sort of thing. But I think the one last year when they were in the when the celebration was in the goal.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. But just the way that like that went down and I went over and I got it, like I was able to get like right behind it, like stuff like that is just like pretty cool to me when you I guess maybe get those shots that nobody else could get or something. But
yeah, it's a crazy feeling as well. Like me and my second shooter, or the second shooter at City, Dion, like when we work, we try to take both sides, and we always make a bet where the player's going to run. But like lately, with our current striker Jamie McLaren, I always tell him, like, mate, if you score today, and I know he will score, like, just remember that I'll be in this corner. I'll be sitting there ready for you. Okay, ready for you. And this one game he scored, it was a derby, and he ran right at me. And I was like, oh shit, what do I do? Like, oh, I'm not ready for this. And like, he went for a slide, but I think it was dry grass, and he face planted. I got that moment. It was like too far for me. And like, I was just like panicking, like goosebumps. I was like, oh my God, this is happening. Everyone's watching. What do I do?
Oh, I did the same thing when we had this Champions League game in Costa Rica. I think I said some of these on that thread that I have going, but I told Ebra in the locker room, I was like, hey, like, look, find my yellow bib and come to me, like, when you score. And he's like, yeah, no problem, I got you. And he scored a hat trick. And I mean, I don't know if he found me, if he looked at me, or if he just happened to go in that direction. But he gave me like the whatever he did, the three fingers. Right, like literally right down the barrel of my camera. So that was awesome. And I think another,
you're like, what the hell?
I mean, I was so hyped. I was like, yes. But another like cool moment, I guess, was like last year. My mom is like a massive Maxi Morales fan. She just thinks that he's like the cutest, coolest, sweetest guy, and just like small and mighty type thing. So I told him one day that my mom had like the shirt, like the Maxi shirt, and I like sent him a picture. I was like, like, we're not choosing any favors, but my mom really likes you or whatever. And after one of the after our Philly game, I was in the locker room and he came up to me and like hit his jersey, and he was like, this is for your mom. And I'm like,
that's so good.
Sweet.
That's really good.
Like that are cool to me. But
no, that's amazing. And look, when it comes to working for a club like that, having those connections with the players is such a sort of unique feeling. And look, there's so much we can talk about when it comes to like how like being a part of a team and all that environment. But I'm just so forever grateful to be able to be in that environment. And like I said to you before, like it scares me the day that maybe my last game comes up. Like I don't want it to ever end. I just love the rush. And of course, now with all this COVID pandemic happening across the world, like I miss it. Like the players are currently in Sydney in the hub and I can't even go there. I'm hoping that maybe by the finals in August, I can probably attend, but it just sucks. So please enjoy what you're experiencing in the MLS back hub. Is there anything else you want to talk about regarding New York City before we jump on to the next topic?
I mean, as you said, I could like talk for days, you know. It's a dream job for me, and I'm happy that I am and still being so young. And like you were saying, we did have games. You didn't have games for so long, and kind of like reignites that back in you. But yeah, people ask me all the time, like, what's next? And it's like, can I just like be here till I'm old? You know?
Yeah.
So.
But one thing I also notice when I shoot sports is the lack of female presence or people of color. But one thing I'm really glad to see in the current sort of years is see people like Anne, who does a lot of football stories down here. She recently shot the World Cup sort of announcement for the Women's World Cup. So she documented all that, and it's good to see her getting respected in that sense, but also by the white line as many others. Is this something that you want to talk about as well? Because I know I saw something you posted about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I realized, not that I'm some crazy idol, but I don't think I realized like how many other people I was impacting when I got this job, when I started doing so much. But I've always said that like I try to not let myself get discouraged by, you know, looking down the sidelines and seeing, you know, a bunch of dudes everywhere or a bunch of white dudes everywhere. But I try to let it like motivate me a little bit and make me like appreciate what I'm doing a little bit more. But then also use it in a way where it can like help someone else or encourage someone else. So I don't want to name any other names because I know I'll forget a ton, but there's so many talented women out there that are, you know, shooting the NWSL games or the national team games or out there with you guys in Australia. And I hope they keep going, and I hope that they can see people like me out here doing what we do. And like you said, by the white line, like I hope people, women especially, can realize that like they can be in those positions and you know, make incredibly dope work. And I think it's up to a lot of us other creators out here in those positions, and even people who aren't, just to support that and amplify that and make those connections. Because I mean, for me at first, like I'm super shy and I like to keep to myself a lot, but I'm realizing that like my story or just talking to someone else about my story or just listening to theirs or sharing theirs can be so helpful. So I'm just trying to do my part, and again, I hope people kind of find some encouragement along the way from the things that all of us badass women out there are doing here.
No, it's good, and that's again being in my position. Like I want to give the voice and help, you know, encourage others to, you know, push their boundaries, but also make a name for themselves. But not also, like you said, not get discouraged, and you know, when you look down the sidelines. But I think one thing 2020 has taught me that is there's a lot of people out there that have their voice heard, and what you're doing is giving the voice to many others out there. So please keep doing what you're doing, because yeah, like you said on Twitter, you connected with a lot of people, and all it takes is that one. I believe in that. Is always one impact on someone's life can change a lot. You know, I had one advice given to me as a kid. I think I was about 16. And that changed my whole life. So remember, even though it's a small impact, what you're doing, you're going to change a lot of people. So in 10 years' time, we might see a massive, you know, impact on that. So good work. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
Thank you. I mean, I had someone reply, like direct message me and say like, you know, thank you for, you know, doing that and amplifying that, because they can't, you know, maybe it's their employee or they're just not comfortable. Like a lot of people can't, you know, tweet all of these things. And, you know, not that I'm like crazy active out there, but I'm grateful at least that like I am allowed to have a voice, and that, you know, people support that and encourage that. So it's definitely important. And what you said about, you being out there on the sidelines, I think it's also important to not let, like what we talked about earlier with the gear, it's like you don't need the fanciest gear to be out there, like just being out there and like putting that effort there and trying and practicing is enough. And it's intimidating with a lens, this big, and then yours is super small. Everyone's got to start somewhere.
And I'm sure there's a lot of Katie stands out there who want to be in your position. And like what I want to do from 2020 onwards is give a lot of young kids opportunities, but also, anyone out there that's pushed there so hard but never been noticed. And I think that's one thing I want to try and encourage in my sort of next couple of years with City, is just give opportunities. So, if there's any City fan out there or anyone in Australia that's looking and wants to, join me, I'd love to have you on board.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we're trying to do something similar. Like if I could have people stick around with me on game days or something and just kind of show them, firsthand how it all goes down, it's important. And also like just kind of what we were just talking about, like it could be so hard in this day to like not compare yourself to everyone, and like you said, not compare yourself to all the people that you follow on Instagram and all your favorite photographers. It's great to have that kind of inspiration, but like you said, it's important to not let it like cloud your judgment or make you feel like you're not good enough or you're not capable or whatever. So it's crazy times, but it's important to kind of figure out what you're good at and just keep on keeping at it.
That's probably the best way to end it. And I think, look, when it comes to your current documentary or what you're shooting with New York at the moment up in, is it Florida? MLS is back? Where is it? Where is it based?
Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, that's why it's raining a lot there. It's super hot.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing whatever you create because I'm really excited. I always keep up to date with my Instagram and just looking at your work. And I'll be honest, like your work does inspire me, and it's good to see. You question yourself the other day on Twitter saying, "Is my work good enough?" Because yes, it is. And even sometimes, like if you're having a bad day, remember your photos inspire others. So like I know the same thing. I always have self-doubt. And I'm scared to post, but I think one thing we need to do as creatives or people who are in this position is just tell people that, sometimes a bad day is a good day. So I look forward to seeing what you're going to create in the next couple of games, and I'll watch tomorrow's match and hopefully spot you. But to end this, is there anything else you want to mention before we jump on to the last topic?
I think we can keep moving. Yeah, I mean, like I said, days about it. We need a part two.
Oh, we will. And that's something I want to keep up to date with you. And also I'll make sure I put your Twitter and your Instagram in the description below and share it on my socials, because you do have a lot to say and I do respect everything you say. And I know a lot of people need to read into it because you've got a voice and I want to make sure you get heard. Now, my favorite part of this whole channel, because the only reason why I started it is to talk about kits, but also talk about stories. But what's one kit that you would love to talk about when it comes to New York or anything that you've seen or shot?
All right, let's see. Our new Gotham kit is pretty fire.
Yeah, I do like that color.
And I think I tweeted about it the other day, but it's so crazy when you go from seeing like the renderings of it and then you see the actual kit in person and then you see it on a person. So you go through all these stages of like, do I like it? Do I not like it? Like, what's the deal? But I love the navy and white. And then as for our older kits, like, I mean, you have to like the Hypno kit, which is the 2018 swirly one. And then for home kits, I really had a sweet spot for the 2017 home kit. I don't know if it's because like that was my first like full-time year with the team, so that's like what I was used to shooting or whatever. But I was a little sad when we lost that one. But even the light blue and white ones, like I feel like all those are clean and sweet. So we're still young and we have plenty more kits to come. So,
but look, I really enjoy talking to you. I know you got the game tomorrow and you said you have a 7 or 9 a.m. start. So I want to make sure you get some sleep and of course, maybe get some YouTube or Netflix into your session before the night ends. Is there anything you'd like to shout out? Anything you'd like to say before you end?
listen, again, I could talk for hours about this because, I mean, before I wouldn't, but I'm kind of like, like we just said, I'm learning that like people will find that helpful and whatnot. So I appreciate you wanting to talk to me, and I appreciate you hyping me up because I think everyone needs that kind of little boost of encouragement every now and then. But I guess to just keep it on the line of like photography and young up and coming people or young women out there trying to shoot or whatever it is. I always tell people it's just important to get out there and shoot. Get used to carrying a camera around. Practice as much as you can, whether that's on your friends, your family, whatever. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to fake it till you make it. I did plenty of fake press applications and whatnot to get into games. So yeah, I think it's just important to practice and always be open to learning. And you know, if people want to reach out to me or pick my brain on anything, I'm happy to do that. And again, I said earlier, but I don't take my job for granted ever. I think it's the coolest job in the world, and you know, not many people get to be in our shoes, and I love that I get to bring that to the fans, give them a side that they don't always see, and then, as we said, just be a part of history and just these players' lives. You know, they're people at the end of the day, and to be able to capture a part of their life that they'll always have is awesome. So couldn't ask for else.
No, look, like I said, I will make sure that I put your info at the bottom, so make sure everyone can, you know, talk to you, but also ask you questions, because I'm sure you'll answer everyone's question. As like we want to make sure we help everyone. But of course, thank you so much for your time. And look, the best thing I can say to you is keep doing what you're doing, because you do inspire everyone else out there, myself included. And, you know, you make a lot of us creators out there, you know, think about our work too, because you produce some amazing work, and it's good to see you have a voice out there and push the boundaries, because again, like, you're going to open the doors for other people out there. Like, for example, if I ever have a daughter, you know, I want to make sure people like them look up to you, because yeah, you are changing the way people do see the industry. So keep doing that. And for your New York City content, like, if anyone wants to check it out, like, it's amazing. So keep up to date. Let me just put the light on, because I want to make sure people can see me instead of just speckles of color, because I kind of got lost during the chat. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good rest tonight. And like I said to you, please make sure I can check you out on the game, because I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to make sure I can see you. And if you do end up on TV, give us a good old wave, and I can try and add it to this chat tomorrow. Okay?
Word. And I just want to say you inspire me a ton too, and next time we'll have to reverse, where I get to ask you the questions. But yeah, you do crazy stuff out there too, so kudos to you. And again, thank you for wanting to talk to me and sharing a bit of my story to all the Australians out there or anyone watching. So good stuff.
Enjoy, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay?
Thank you.